And then also starting a new project that we're going to get into called Babellion Studios. A previous guest on your show, Joshua Frier. We're co-founders of that, and basically we're trying to make a multimedia company / empire where we all just band together for one common cause, make some films, make some music, make some more podcasts, make a bunch of shit, and then also continue all the other projects we're already doing like this, and just further collaborate and support each other through one common brand. So, yeah.
So very exciting new project starting. Let's kind of elaborate on the Babellion Studios. So how was it created? Or like what are the origins of it?
Origin story of Babellion Studios actually goes all the way back to freshman year. Sophia and I, the Tunes for Two podcast hosts, I think I was literally just on a road trip down to Alabama for Christmas, and we were just talking for hours, and I just told her, I was like, I've never been the type of person who just wanted to stick to one form of media when I'm talking about like my creative endeavors or anything like that. I've always been the type of person who just wants to branch out and do as many things as possible, just be kind of like a jack of all trades, and be really nice if, like, since we all are talented individuals within our friend group, if we could all just like make a brand where we can all like help support each other in any of our endeavors, because like there's always this like issue where if someone has their own creative pursuit with someone else in a friend group, then someone else feels left out or whatever, and it's just like, well, if we're all a part of this one united brand, then no one's ever going to feel left out, because even if they're not in one episode or one particular maybe short film, like they know that they're still part of that brand and what we're all trying to build collectively. And so that's basically what I was trying to tell her all the way back then. And it would just be cool to just like, get merch for it and shit like that. Just like just to visualize ourselves as like making a company. I think that's just like kind of a flex, honestly. But organizationally, it would all help our creative pursuits since we're already collaborating with each other on so much shit. And so a lot of time went by since then. I brought it up with various people ever since then. And eventually I got back to Josh one semester. I think it had to have been like last semester. So let's say around October, November, we just started talking about like, actually, honestly, it was probably later than that. So let's say November, December of 2020. The worst year on record is finally ending.
You can say that again.
We're just like kind of visualizing where we go from there, because we don't want our like motivation to run dry like it did during 2020, as everyone's did during 2020. And so me and him were just talking a lot about personally, it was just about us having some creative pursuits. Like he would be like, within a short film setting, it would be like he would be the director, I'd be the producer, and we'd have like a relationship there. And then within music, we wanted to make music too, and we worked out a system there, and even started like getting ourselves ready to like start making an album, until we got to the point where I was like, shit, we don't even know that much about music, like maybe we should slow down on that pursuit. But that's still something in the long run we'd like to do. But eventually he started thinking about the multimedia company thing that I had brainstormed way back when, and he was like, yo, I think we are all just in the need of some motivation booster, like some common cause all band together for, so that we can start being productive again. Why the fuck not? Because we're already making all these short films for all these classes. We have enough experience doing those things, and we already have enough experience collaborating with each other. Why aren't we just doing this already while we, since most of us are roommates, like we're always just, talking together all the time, just collaborating in our own ways. It's just like, let's just do something with this. We have all the resources we need, really. We need to do something with this. Let's not waste our time. So that was kind of the sentiment behind why we started doing that. Now we took a while to really brainstorm what we felt like the company's foundation would be. Like, what is our mission statement? Like, what do we believe in as a company? And then we even went even deeper than that. Like, what are our long-term goals? What are our short-term goals? Like, we just did a lot of organizational thinking before we even presented it to you. And when Josh presented it to you, in my mind, I was like, this is beginning. Like, we're out of the brainstorming part of it, like the actual company aspect, and we're finally into the aspect where, or the phase where this is being realized. And so after that, we made some brand identities. I made logos, and we're in the midst of making a website. You know, follow us on Instagram at Babellion Studios. That's basically the only place you can find us at this point. But in the future, we're hoping to branch out, obviously. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it because it's like actually going into like tuition or whatever. And usually when I start these kind of projects or hear about these kind of projects, or at least throughout high school and even up until you presented the idea, they always kind of like fizzled out, and some of those ideas could have been great, I feel like, or if either like me or like the other person that I was working with on that particular project, or if we actually pursued it and not just like got out of the brainstorming idea, then I feel like it could have been great. But I'm like so excited for this because it's like we have the name, we have the logo, we have like all of these like certain aspects in place that like I'm just so excited about, and it's like actually like
we just need actual content to distribute at this point. I mean, obviously Tunes for Two started making videos again, and you're continually making vlogs. Like, you're the probably production wise, you have the most content coming out at, you know, the fastest rate, I guess.
Yeah.
So obviously we have things like that, like partnered projects is what I've decided to call them. I don't really know exactly what like the official term would be for like Tunes for Two, Trace Gates, and Disgruntled, but obviously we're doing these things all the time, and that's content to distribute. But the real content we want to distribute that is going to be the biggest deal is the stuff we do all together as our own massive projects that like has no specific like, oh, does this belong to Tunes for Two? Oh, does this belong to Disgruntled? It's just like, this is a Babellion project. And so once we get that to distribute, that's when I think that's like when it becomes even realer. Like, obviously it's already kind of realized, but it becomes even realer once we finally have that project out, which, you know, we're in the midst of actually trying to get out there. So
I guess to further this conversation is like, who's all a part of it?
Yeah, so I've already kind of mentioned a lot of the cogs in the machine, but basically Josh and I are the co-founders. Josh plays a more creative role in the organizational structure. Like, he controls a lot of the creative aspects of, like, you know, what type of content we're going to produce, basically, because that it is mostly his vision. I mean, like, I thought about this a long time ago, but as of more recently, like, the actual, like, I don't know, the flavor that comes in with the studio, like, he developed. So yeah, he definitely is like the pride of this whole operation, whereas like I'm kind of like the guy who is the executive producer or whatever, who just makes sure that anything that Josh wants to get done gets done in a timely fashion and a realistic fashion. Like, anytime I have to be like, yo, Josh, this is not something we're able to do. There's no way we can fucking ride elephants throughout the Broad Street or something like that for your fucking short film. Like, get over yourself. And then he'd have to be like, okay. But if there was ever at any point where I felt like, you know, something he had envisioned was just so great that like I would do anything just to figure out, then like I'm the guy who like takes his imagination to the next step and makes it a reality. So that's basically like how we work as a duo at the top of like this. I don't want to even call it a hierarchy because we're pretty much a democratic like group. Most of the things that happen here do come from our own minds, get distributed amongst you guys. So we try to keep it as democratic as possible, but like Josh and I, we just it just so happens that we're always thinking about this. Like, we can't stop. We're just so dedicated to this. So that's just the way it works. And then there's you, of course, and we have no like real roles established yet. It's kind of like a project by project basis, so we just call you guys like key creatives. But in general, there's like a pretty clear idea of what your specialties are and like how you'll, you know, be involved with all of our like grand projects, like together projects in the future. And like you would definitely be like an editor, and you've signed yourself up as part of the marketing team as well. And so There's Trey from Trey Skates, shout outs. He also is like chief of cinematography, and this doesn't just mean that he's always the cinematographer. It also means like he can help us get like the right cinematographers for the right project. So that's a pretty like key distinguishment right there. There's Sophia from Tunes for Two, who is a big writer, and obviously she just really helps a lot, like making sure that there's like some actual substance to what we're writing, because it's very easy, like we're kind of writing a comedy and whatever, like it's very easy to just like write a comedy that just makes people laugh and just like has no like ulterior motive. Basically it's very easy to just develop something like that. She kind of ensures that we have the means to make people laugh but also make people think, and that sounds so cheesy, but like it's true. Like she definitely does like provide a very like personal, passionate level to what we're writing that makes like I feel like will make our projects very different. And obviously Josh's, I feel like, directorial style also helps with that as well. So yeah, they definitely, as writer director duo, like work together very well in that aspect. And then there's Brendan, also another roommate here at the Young Bull house. He is the only, no, he's not the only, but all the people I just mentioned are film media arts majors. He actually just changed his major from something in computer science to media production. He's still trying to find his way as a key creative into like what he thinks he's good at, what he wants to pursue further. But I felt through what I've seen him do with his own life basically and his own personal projects that he'd be really good at managing like social media and like doing marketing and stuff like that, just really getting the audience engaged in a day-by-day basis. And so that's kind of what I put him in charge of as of right now. Obviously I think there's more production wise things like on the actual set that I think he could find himself doing pretty well as well, but we'll see. And then there's Gladia Bolt, who as of right now I think she could actually have like a lot more roles than what I'm about to say here, because I think she is in general just like one of the most creative people I ever met, and she could easily write, and honestly I don't think she'd ever want to try it just because she is an actor first, but I feel like she could easily direct as well. She will be our casting director as of right now, just because she does have the most connections with actors and other people like that. Also, she's the only person like who has actually like lived in Philadelphia the longest, so she has connections from around here as well. It's just like we needed someone on the inside or whatever, since like we're all this is a Philadelphia based company because that's why we're all here, but at the same time none of us are actually from Philadelphia except for her, so it's very helpful to have her a part of this. Those are the key 7 right now. I also want to give a honorable mention shout out to my friend Gray, who said that he would make our website, and he wanted his name associated with this, so he's, obviously I have to mention him here, and I feel like he'd want to be even more involved going forward, but that's yet to be like fully worked out. Shout out to Gray Lewis.
Sounds good. And then there's also going to be like more additions as well in the later years and stuff, but that's like the core 7 or 8 people, like you just said, within the group. I guess let's wrap this up. You already basically explained most of kind of what Babellion is, but if you had to choose like 1 to 2 sentences or a couple sentences to kind of leave the viewers with like one like defining thing about Babellion.
Man, I'm bad at this. Josh is way better at really defining what Babellion is, and at least to summarize, because I actually had to do like the Instagram bio for this, and I just wrote something so bland, but I'll try to get Josh to add more flavor to it. But if it's up to me, I would say we are a group of young creatives who just want to do as much with their young, creative, inspirational, imaginative passion as they ever could fucking imagine. They just want to do as much as possible. And instead of being selfish, stuck up creatives like most film and media arts
That is
students
very
are, we've decided to really band together for one common cause. So,
Awesome.
I don't know if like that was more than how many sentences you told me, but
Yeah, that's beautifully put. I love it.